I've been a Freemason for a very long time, and I'm very proud of that. There are millions like me scattered over the world, actually. It's a very organised, charitable organisation, now celebrating 300 years. We actually have very high ethical and moral standards, which is a very, very good thing. We actually believe very much in charity, in giving money not only to Masonic charities but to all kinds of charities. We are the second largest giver of charities after the National Lottery. We enjoy each other's company, we have a fantastic social life, and we care for those in need.
Every year I do the Great Manchester Run, which has been going since 2003, and I've done every one, so I don't want to miss one now. I've got to keep going on it. And so yeah, I've raised money for various charities over the years doing this run. And individually you can't give a lot to charity, but collectively Freemasonry give a huge amount, and probably more than most people even realise, and perhaps they should do better with getting the message out there, the good that is done by Freemasons, because I think a lot of people, they don't know what goes on, and the fact that there's so much good that goes on, I think that could sometimes shout a little bit more about that, personally. A friend of mine who joined about the same time as me, and he got diagnosed with cancer 12 months ago. He's gone through an awful 12 months that he's hopefully coming out the other side of it, but Freemasons have been fantastic for him when he was like at his darkest point, couldn't work and this, that and the other. They were great. They stepped in and helped out, helped his family, and not that you'd want to rely on things like that, but when chips are down, it's always useful to have, the backing of people to help you out.
How do you feel?
Exhausted, but I'm glad I did it. But it was hard. It was another hot one, especially when you're out there running or whatever. It soon gets warm. What it does for someone that's 15 stone or whatever, lugging that round. If I could drop a couple of stone, it'd be far better. But there you go.
I'm very aware that there's a big sort of, it makes up quite a large part of the family. My great-grandfather was in it, grandfather's in it, and now my dad's in it as well. My family, obviously, they've had a huge involvement in it, and if it's going down the generations, it's obviously having a big impact on them, and it's obviously doing, they feel like it's doing some good. So I'd obviously need to find out a little bit more about it first before committing to it, but I think if my father, grandfather and great-grandfather have all been involved, then I think there probably could be a future in it for me as well.
When I was down in Birmingham organising an academic conference, I was looking for a venue and I came across the Freemasons Hall within the city centre. When I was speaking to the organiser there, he was telling me about the history of that space as well, about the meetings and about the different symbols and the architecture, which really got me excited about this idea of Freemasonry, what it was about and what it involved. And from there on in, I was introduced to one of my colleagues who was a Freemason, who introduced me to the wider organisation and brought me on board from there. At first, a bit worried whether it would be, a lot of people older than myself. But once you get to meet other people who are part of Freemasonry, it really opens your eyes to just how many people are involved from different ages, the spectrum of people. You've got people in their late teens, in their early 20s, all the way through to 50s and 60s and beyond as well. So there's a real mix of people, far from it just being an old man's club. There's a lot of younger people involved too. It was very, very welcoming from start to finish, really. Everything was outlined. It was a gradual process of meeting various different people who were involved at different levels in Freemasonry, who explained everything completely clearly to me as well. So I felt it was a very friendly atmosphere from start. There was no fear on my side, because all of that was allayed when I first got to meet people who explained about the process and then going in. Freemasonry is a lot more open now. There's a lot of people who you can speak to if you're interested. If you haven't been asked to come in by somebody else, you can look on the website. It's made me more confident, if I'm honest with you, as well as a person, and able to better myself in a sense. In terms of, again, the real impact side of things, I feel like I'm making a real difference to people's lives. I also feel part of this wider network. It's helped me to feel much more included in the Manchester scene, so to speak. So again, because there's so many people involved from different backgrounds, I've made some genuine friends who I'll have for the rest of my life.
When they had the floods recently in Lancashire, the Freemasons were the first to put some money in the pot and say, there you go, we'll help you. but people don't realise that. They don't see that side of it. Only, I suppose, once you're in it, it's when you see it. And I heard somebody came to our lodge to speak, and he came out with one of the best lines I've ever heard. And we were talking about charity, and he said that when you donate money, he said, you help it. I'll try and think of the exact line. Hang on. It's for people whose names you will never know and faces you will never see, but whose lives you will change for the better. And I just thought that describes exactly what it's all about.
I'm 38 years old. I'm Muslim, practicing fervent and proud of it. Religion, you have to have a religion. You have to believe in a supreme being in order to be able to join Freemasonry. But it doesn't matter at all what religion you are following. Our members are Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, many other denominations. Background doesn't matter whatsoever, whether it's social, racial, religious, national. We come from all walks of life. We come from all different ages. And that in itself is another great attraction, because most of the things that we become member of are things because we have that job and all of us get together, or university friends, all with more or less the same academic background getting together. But when you join the Freemasons, you see people from all over the place, all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and that's an opportunity to connect with people so different from yourself, yet having a shared interest, and all go together and have a lot of fun. And then when you sit back and say, I'm so glad I did this. Life is busy. As a doctor, you have your days. Sometimes you barely get a break, an opportunity to sit down. There are many days that I miss my lunch, and my colleagues tell me off that I need to ease off. But when the day's over, I go home, and it's resting period. Fair enough. But there are times that this pattern really exhausts you. Even the repetitiveness of this pattern is tiring. Going to the lodge gives me this opportunity that first we have a formal, semi-formal meeting, which I sit down with my friends, sit back and enjoy or take part in it. And then when the meeting's over, we go to the social board. For a few hours, I completely disconnect. Everyone would enjoy company of good friends. I think that never gets old. That's one thing. Charity is always something to cherish. So some values do never get old. And the history of our order, coming up to the tercentenary, is second to none. It's something that connects history with modernity. To me, it's a transition that we make as we are growing as species. And civilization, which is the message. Because Freemasonry is about respecting one another, toleration, helping each other, but also helping ourselves, simply by thinking inwardly about how we can change as people. How simply, while having fun. No radical changes. Just look at your own personal values and see what you actually do really value, but sometimes your busy life doesn't even allow you to spend time with those things. Freemasonry to me acts as a reminder to somehow renew your vows, if you may, with those values and awaken them, something that sometimes it is there. You like doing something like that.
I think the charity enhances the experiences of patients and children. It brings in things that not necessarily the NHS can provide. You know, in terms of the environment for care, we fund things like play doctors and schemes to help the children feel a little bit less pressured in a hospital environment. Freemasons have been amazing. I mean, you know, in all the years, and it's been many years for me, I've been involved with the health service, the Freemasons have always been generous, always been mindful of the support to our local hospitals, and certainly the lodges in East Lancashire and in the North West have been really helpful. We had a £50,000 donation from the Freemasons to our new Children's Hospital appeal. We've had a huge support to the Manchester Royal Eye Hospital, another £120,000 being brought forward, and a continuation, even now, conversations about the completion of our helipad project, which we're almost there. Again, we turn to the Freemasons and they're always there, always willing to listen and respond. We had a huge interest in the development of our bionic eye appeal. This is where we have new technologies to help with failing sight for adults, but within that we are also developing new approaches to children's eye disorders. That we had a particular poster to be developed in the paediatric ophthalmic clinic, and we asked the Freemasons whether they could help us, and the Freemasons have funded the post.
I provide them emotional and practical support for children and young people and their parents and carers. So a lot of the time when people are diagnosed with a visual impairment, they'll get the medical diagnosis and then they won't often always know what services are available to them. So I'm there to fill that gap.
Masonic grants to charities make a difference to thousands of people across England and Wales. We are among the first to support major relief appeals worldwide, and last year we gave £4.9 million to the wider community.
It really helped that my dad was a Freemason, so I'd already had exposure to the dinners, to the level of social etiquette that was required. I'd been going to ladies' evenings from being about 7. I used to watch Mum and Dad get ready for ladies' evenings, and it always seemed so glamorous, and there was always, clouds of perfume, and hair was perfectly done, and the makeup was on, and the long dresses, and it was always so glamorous as a child watching your parents go out and get ready for that. But even just the general meetings during the week, there'd be polishing Dad's shoes, ironing his shirt if Mum was busy as I got into my teenage years, and off he'd go in his pinstripes, and that was just normal family life. And that's quite nice to see, because my elder daughters will often iron a white shirt for Chad, and some of the little ones will be carrying his case out to the car, and Dad will be going to lodge, and that's just normal family life. The children really enjoy the social aspect of Freemasonry. You make an awful lot of friends, and they're enduring friendships. The children are able to learn social etiquette in a very safe and supportive environment. They can quite competently work their way through 7 or 8 courses. They learn how to mingle and kind of work a room, so to speak. It's nice to see my older daughters doing that, because you see the confidence that they wouldn't necessarily have had they not have been exposed to that from being young children. So it's good. Hopefully things like that will set them in good stead for their adult life.
Thank you for watching. If you're interested and would like to find out more, just click on the link below. I hope to meet you soon.